Hi students, my name is Sanana and I am here to teach you the subject of social studies. Today we would be doing the last chapter in your business studies, consumer education and protection. Students, let me tell you of a story that I read very recently in the news. So there was this lady who went to buy grocery and she wanted to purchase dal. But when she got back home, she saw that along with dal, they had mixed some impurities and given it to her. She went to consumer court. She filed a case that how she has been cheated. And then the court ordered the grocery shop to give her compensation and to repay her for her loss. So imagine students, if we all are aware that this is the quality of service, this is the quality of the product I am supposed to get when I am making a purchase, and if I don't get it, if I have been cheated, there is a way to solve this. There will be so much benefit for everyone. This is what we will be learning in this chapter, that as a consumer, what all are you supposed to get, and if you don't get, what is the way for you to file a complaint and get justice for yourself. Let's begin learning the chapter. It's on page number 148. So what all we are going to learn, students, in this chapter? We are first going to learn who is a consumer. What are the rights? The moment you make a purchase, what are your rights as a consumer? And then we will learn about exploitation, how a consumer can be cheated. See, if you know how you can be cheated, you can be more careful and avoid the exploitation. So, we will also learn about consumer awareness. Next, we will learn about this act called the Consumer Protection Act and what is its importance. Why this concept of consumer protection is important and what is the importance of this act. Then we will learn about, as a consumer, what are all the precautionary measures you should take while you are buying a product or a service. Lastly, we will learn about the significance of consumer education with regards to filing cases with the consumer courts. Okay students, let's begin learning the chapter. Now, when you go to purchase something, let's say you woke up today morning, your mother told you, child, go buy milk and come. Now you are at the milk store. You want to buy milk. So when you are purchasing milk, you become the user. The shop seller who is selling milk becomes provider. So this definition for 1 mark from the examination point of view is very important. The service organization have used the term user to those who use the goods and services. The user, you use the goods and service. The person who supplies goods or service is called provider. Students, if you notice, the definition is exactly same. The only single word difference is for user, those who use, and for provider, those who supply. Okay? The government, in its Consumer Protection Act, has used the word consumer in the place of user. So, where has the government introduced the word consumer? In the Consumer Protection Act. So, throughout the act, they call the user as consumer. It is the duty of the trader and producer to provide quality goods and services for the price paid by the consumer. So, if I am a trader, it's my duty to give good service to the consumer equivalent to the amount paid by him. And as a consumer, what is my right? It is the right of every consumer to get quality goods and services. The traders or producers, do they cheat consumers? Of course, they do cheat them in many ways. So students, let me tell you this story. It's a real story of the events that happened, how they set up this consumer court. Why this movement became really important in India? It is very simple. So these traders were cheating consumers in many ways. They kept cheating them through adulteration in grocery, by mixing water and milk, and then different ways by using, substandard weights and measures, and giving them bills that were not accurate, many ways. So the consumers were being cheated in multiple ways. So there were some people who found out, oh, there is such a thing happening. What can we do? We need to make more awareness amongst the people to make them aware that please check before you buy something. Don't be cheated. This is the quality you're supposed to get. So movements like this started. So to stop this hindrance, some social organizations started some movements. It first began not in India, it began in the country of United States. In India, the Planning Commission backed the idea of foundation of Indian Association of Consumers. So remember students, there used to be 5-year plans. The department that used to make 5-year plans is the Planning Commission. They said that we need to have a association called the Indian Association of Consumers. In which year? In 1956. They wanted this association for consumers to protect them from being cheated. But however, they failed. It was not effective in solving the problem. Then a movement called AWARE started. What is AWARE? Some women in the city of Mumbai, they started a movement, the Association of Women Against Rising Expenses. Students, you should know the full form of AWARE. Association of Women Against Rising Expenses. Okay? They wanted to create more awareness. This movement gave rise, everyone all over India started talking about consumer rights at a national level. So some movements started in some parts of the country, and then they realized that they should have an organization. Because of this AWARE movement's success in Mumbai, a lot of other movements in India, they got encouragement. Some of them are the Federation of Consumer Organization, the National Consumer Protection Council, etc. You can learn any one movement's name, it's enough. Now students, we will go on to discussing what could be the reasons that a consumer is exploited. So during the past, the producers were supplying goods directly to consumers. Let's say I have cows, I get milk, directly I will go and provide to the consumer. So in the direct way of selling, there was no middleman. But now, because of so much of development, a lot of middlemen came. And because middlemen came, there came a lot of hindrances in buying and selling. So the direct transaction between the producer and consumer has stopped as of now. The middlemen started fixing the price. So earlier, the farmer would sell directly to the consumer. If there is rice, the farmer has grown and the consumer wants to buy, the farmer would decide, okay, I want to sell at 40 rupees per kg. He would decide and he would sell. But now came middleman. Middleman will go to 10 different farmers. One farmer is selling at 40, one is selling at 30. Now the middleman cannot keep so many different prices. So he will just fix the price, saying yes, everyone it will be 30 rupees per kg only. So even if the farmer wants to sell it at 40, he cannot sell. So he is going to face losses. So the price fixation of goods and services was done by these middlemen. It led to a lot of hindrances, like I already discussed with you all. Consumers had to undergo various difficulties and problems. Now they cannot go directly to the farmer to buy the rice. They have to go to the middleman. Middleman goes to farmer and then he brings the rice. So they also incurred a lot of losses. So the development of IT, information technology, has also led one to do teleshopping. You can just call over the phone and do teleshopping. And now we also have online e-shopping that is going on. So what is teleshopping, students? So the consumers, instead of going to a shop to buy things or going to the trader to buy goods and services, they order for goods which are advertised over the television or any other media. Through internet, SMS or telephone, consumers can place the order for these goods or services. Let's say they saw on the TV that this mixer grinder is being sold. They just have to send an SMS with their address that I want one, or they have to log in onto their website and book, and they get the mixer or grinder. So payment can also be made after receiving the goods at the door. This is called teleshopping. In many such cases, through teleshopping, a consumer can also be cheated. How can a consumer be cheated? Now imagine you've seen the product only on the television. Have you seen it personally? Have you checked it personally that it should work? There may be terms and conditions, like once they deliver the product to you, they may not take it back in case of defect. So all of these terms and conditions are not clearly given out during a teleshopping. So a lot of consumers got exploited and cheated. Students, so now we have learned what is a user, what is a provider, why this consumer movement started, in what different ways a consumer was being exploited. We also understood what is teleshopping. Now students, we will go into the detail to understand what is a consumer. If they ask you in your exam, give the definition of user and provider, please write what you learnt in the beginning of the chapter. If they ask you to write the definition and meaning of consumer, you will write this, what I would be explaining now. A consumer is a person who buys goods or hires or avails services for a consideration called price or wages. You could purchase a good, like you're buying milk. You could access a service. Let's say you are going to the hospital. When you're getting treatment, you're not getting any good, you're getting a service. You may take a cab from one place to another. In that case, it's called you're hiring a cab. So any of these three you can do, and in return you pay something. That consideration is called price or wages. So the person who is doing this is called a consumer. The goods purchased may be for self, it could be for your own usage. You could be buying milk for consuming it yourself, making tea and drinking it yourself, or you could even be a baker. You may be wanting to buy the milk so that you can make some biscuits or cakes or something else with it, and you want to sell it to someone else. So the goods purchased may be for self-consumption or meant for resale or a commercial activity. Students, let's also understand the meaning of commercial activity. An activity or a transaction carried on with the motive of making profit is called a commercial purpose. So as consumers, whenever we go to buy a product or a service, we all have wants, and because we want to satisfy that want, we go to buy a product or get a service. So every consumer has wants. He buys goods to satisfy his wants, and it's the duty of the producer to satisfy the needs of the consumer. India is a free enterprise economy. What is a free enterprise economy, students? In a free enterprise economy, a consumer is free. Like if you want to buy toothpaste, you can buy Close-Up, you can buy Colgate, you can buy Miswak, you can buy any brand that you like. So a consumer is not controlled that they have to buy only this brand or they have to compulsorily purchase from this shop. So it's a free enterprise economy. They can go and buy whatever they like from whichever shop they like. So consumer is considered as a king. Consumer is regarded as the king, and he occupies a very prime place. I hope you all understood the meaning of a free enterprise economy. But unfortunately, many consumers are neglected and they are being exploited and cheated, and they also suffer a lot in this process. So this gave the need for protecting the consumers. Students, what is the meaning of consumer protection? Again, a very important definition and meaning from examination point of view. It refers to protection to consumers against who? Against the exploitation by the producers and traders. There is a great need for consumer protection. So to safeguard the interest of the consumers, consumers' rights are assured. So then came the Consumer Protection Act. A lot of consumer movements were going on. We learnt about Aware, the movement started by those Mumbai women. And we also learnt about two more movements. So because these consumers were being exploited, these movements were taking place. This put a lot of pressure on the government to enable some acts, to pass laws to protect the consumer. So in 5 decades time, more than 30 acts, more than 30 laws were implemented by the government. Which were they? Essential Commodities Act, Weights and Measures Act, Act Against Adulteration of Food Articles, etc. These are all steps that were taken by the government for protecting the consumers. Then finally, the government made the Consumer Protection Act in the year of 1986. Before we go into learning the act, let's learn about the World Consumer Day. Students, you also learnt the day on which Universal Declaration of Human Rights was signed was the World Human Rights Day. It's celebrated on December 10th. Similarly, students, we also celebrate the World Consumer Day. So in the history of World Consumers Movement all over the world, March 15th, 1962 is a very important day. Why? Because on this day, the United States President John F. Kennedy adopted a legislation. Legislation means law, comprising of 4 rights. 4 rights for consumers. What are those 4 rights? Citizen safety, information, appeal and remedy. What is the meaning of this? Citizens must be kept safe. They must have adequate information of the product and service that they are buying. If they are not getting the product and service up to the required quality, they should be able to appeal to the court and should be able to get a remedy for their appeal, for their complaint. For this reason, March 15th every year is celebrated as the World Consumers Day.